Now I'd just like to introduce the next speaker, the South Australian Skills Commissioner, Renee Hindmarsh. Renee is South Australia's inaugural Skills Commissioner and Chair of the South Australian Skills Commission. She has an extensive background as a senior executive and in advisory positions across the education and public sectors, including through her previous role as the state's training advocate since early 2019. Prior to being the training advocate, Renee was the Executive Director of the Australian Technology Network of Universities, where she drove collaboration between Australia's technology universities to improve outcomes for graduates and strengthen links with industry. Renee is passionate about training and skills development to aid South Australia in meeting its future skills need. Please join me in welcoming Renee.
Can you all hear me? Okay, I'm very conscious we have a lot to cover in terms of jobs of the future in my 9 minutes, but I would like to acknowledge that we're meeting today on the lands of the Ngarrindjeri people, and thank you, Harley, for the amazing welcome. So in considering what the jobs of the future might look like, we first need to know what's driving the change. At the recent Jobs and Skills Summit in Canberra, a CSIRO report detailing global megatrends was discussed, and it describes the 7 forces, influences and trends that will impact how we all live. They include adapting to climate change, which won't come as a surprise to anyone here in the room, the fact that we're becoming increasingly autonomous, so how things are becoming automated, the use of AI, etc. Diving into digital, we spend a lot of time talking about digital transformation, the shift to Industry 4.0, and what that means for individual businesses and growth in productivity. There's big geopolitical shifts that are happening across the globe as I speak, and it won't come as a surprise to any of you that this impacts supply chains, our security, etc. The escalating health imperative, what we can do around preventative health and precision health, as well as supporting better health outcomes for all Australians, including regional South Australians. Our desire to be leaner, cleaner and greener, so driving innovation and sustainability, unlocking the human dimension, so those social factors that drive consumer behaviour, citizens and employers to do different things and to create the kind of society that they all want to live in. And I think what's clear when we're considering all of these very large trends, it's not one or the other. They're all interdependent and all interrelated. So to address the challenges and leverage from the opportunities they present, I think we really need to take a systems approach. So armed with a little bit of clarity around those trends, the question becomes not what the jobs of the future might be and come up with a list, but more around how we equip people to come up with a level of resilience and to adapt to the changes that we anticipate, but more importantly, the changes that we don't. And I think having just lived through a global pandemic, you'll all appreciate that this is a really important consideration for skills policymakers, and I certainly acknowledge the comments by Minister Scriven previously. And it's not new. It's not just pre-COVID and post-COVID. The world's always been changing, but I guess those recent occurrences have really accelerated change and sharpened our focus. Recently, the Skills Commission was lucky enough to meet with Professor Martin Bean, the former Vice-Chancellor of RMIT University, who describes himself as a skills nerd, which immediately endears him to me. But he spoke about the viewing an individual's career and learning as a T-shape. On the horizontal, so across here, is the enduring human capabilities, what some people sometimes call soft skills, but I prefer to call human skills. And on the vertical are those technical skills. And employers are looking for both. They're looking for people who can communicate, who are great with teamwork, that are resilient, but they're also looking for people who can do the job. So your dentist can't just be a good communicator, they need to know how to drill a hole in your tooth. They're both really important, but the technical skills often have a shorter lifespan, and it is those enduring human capabilities that are lifelong, regardless of an individual's career path. And the better developed that we are with those human capabilities, the more effectively that they will inform and accelerate technical change. So what skills and capabilities are deemed valuable now and into the future? That's a lot on a slide. I don't expect that you'll be able to read all of it. In June last year, McKinsey and Company released a report defining the skills citizens will need in the future world of work. Thought, bingo. So they highlighted the need for manual and physical skills, as well as basic cognitive ones, as actually being on the decline. But demand for those technological, social and emotional and higher cognitive skills levels will grow. There were 56 foundation skills to benefit people, but really those higher levels of proficiency lead to higher levels of employment, higher incomes and higher job satisfaction. That shouldn't come as a shock to any of you. And those foundation skills fall within 4 basic categories. So there's the cognitive skills, digital skills, as we were just talking about, the interpersonal skills and self-leadership. And they're really what help add value to an individual, but also to their communities and to the businesses that they're working in, and help them operate in a changing environment and a digital environment, and continually changing the way we work. And I'm sure that's something that we're all experiencing, having undergone such a massive period of transformation over the last 2 years. This is further supported by the AISC, the Australian Industry and Skills Committee, who in April this year highlighted 5 skills and capabilities that they said were highly prioritised. And that included adaptability, collaboration, the ability to analyse information, digital skills again, I'm seeing a theme, and those industry and occupational technical skills as well that we talked about in that T-shape. So, coupled with an understanding of those types of skills and capabilities that are required for the jobs of the future, the National Skills Commission provided a projection that more than 9 out of 10 new jobs to be created in the next 5 years will require post-secondary qualifications. So I'll just say that again because that's quite important. 9 out of 10 new jobs being created in the future are likely to involve a post-secondary qualification. And those shift to higher skill jobs and ongoing shift towards services, including care. And as some of you who will have seen the amazing data that comes out of the RDA, the #1 skills vacancies in every single region in South Australia are in the health and care sector. This highlights the importance of education and training and ongoing skill development for all. It has particular ramifications for our regions to ensure that people aren't left behind due to a lack of educational opportunities or a requirement to leave their community for skill attainment, including upskilling, although I do acknowledge Minister Scriven's point that not everyone can go to the university of their choice in their region itself. But we do want regions to remain an attractive place to live and work, and the state government has committed a lot, both in those regional programs, but also in the skilling programs, including the technical colleges that the Minister covered before. There was a report released last week by the National Skills Commission about job openings and replacement rates by occupation. And whilst I won't delve into the specifics of that data, I do think that it demonstrates that we're on the cusp of a structural shift in the economy, both in Australia and more broadly globally, where you are going to see some of those lower skill jobs still being there and having vacancies created when people resign or retire, but the growth in jobs will actually be at that higher skill level, and it is something that we need to keep in mind. Future-proofing our labour force is a complex task, and I think most people agree, and the fact that we've had this national summit around jobs and skills led by the new Labor government would suggest that we do have to look and do things differently. But the good news is we have already started, and I have 1 minute, so I'll keep it very brief. There are a lot of people across all levels of government who are listening, engaging and identifying opportunities for doing things differently and collaborating. There are lots of things happening, including a white paper that's coming out of that summit. The development of SACE learner profiles. If you haven't learnt about what the SACE department is doing for school students to basically build a profile of a young person, not just their academic transcript, but their broader skills to make them more employable. It's amazing work. We're leading the nation, and go SA. There's also a lot of work being developed around more flexible pathways into and out of employment to allow people not just to get onto the job ladder, but to move throughout their career career. And I think there's a lot that's happening. There's some strategies around attracting and retaining students. Completions is a big focus of the Commission and government more broadly. And I think, it's really important that people are equipped with the tools that they need to prove their market relevance and why they're a good fit for a job, because a lot of these skills are actually really transferable. And being able to crystallise the skills and capabilities required for major projects such as the growth in forestry, the hydrogen jobs plan, etc., provide the foundation to identifying where those upskilling, reskilling, new skilling is required, and where migration and international students add to the picture as well. So our task is really to ensure that the training organisations are connected with industry, new models of delivery are considered, so we ensure availability of training in the regions, and that students, apprentices and trainees are supported to achieve their goal. I know I'm out of time, so the functions of the Commission are on the slide behind me. I won't run through them now, but happy to talk to anyone in the break. And we really value the input of the RDSA and look forward to finding ways to engage with you in future and support your work. Thank you.